Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Come on in. We are live on the tube. Let's gab and chat, guys. Remember, this channel is for commentary, entertainment only, not to be taken seriously. We like to share. Greetings. Welcome to the Saga Reveal. This is our Tell-All Tuesday, and I'm your host, Mademoiselle. I hope y'all can hear me. Let me know if the sound is good. I'm also checking on my side here. So please hit the like button. Subscribe for your notification. So let's get on with today. Oh, what a great weekend. Oh boy. What the chaos. But we will get through it. We will get through it. All right, so we were going to continue on our last stream. Perfect. So, yes, we were on number 10, unjust enrichment of defendant by breach of contract and or copyright infringement. So she is accusing him of unjustly getting rich by breach of contract, following the contract and for the copyright of her writings, arts, whatever. Right? We'll find out here. So let's go. As a member of Danity Kane, Miss Richard has performed on over 15 songs and holds composition credit for more than 3 songs. We'll see those footmarks later, 5 and 6. Defendants have failed to account to pay Miss Richard as agreed for her composition and her performance, and have breached contract and infringe her copyrights, all of which has unjustly enriched defendants, capital D and an S. As a member of Diddy Dirty Money, Miss Richard has performance recorded on over 9 songs. We'll see the foot 7. Additionally, Miss Richard has a composition rights and credit on more than 5 songs. Defendants have failed to account to or pay Miss Richard as agreed for her composition and her. We'll get to it, and her. So here's 5 to all of these songs. And then on number 6, all of these other songs with other collaboration as well. And here as well on the top one, there was other collaboration. So yeah, that was 6 and 7 and 8. All the songs, yeah, right here, enumerated. 8. All right, so continue on from, and her performance and breached contract and or infringed her copyrights, unjustly enriching defendants. In 2020, Mr. Combs selected Miss Richard for a role reboot of Making the Band, and Miss Richard spent hours preparing to be a judge on the new show. over the COVID-19 pandemic halted those, however, sorry, the COVID-19 pandemic halted those plans, and Miss Richard has never compensated in any way. On or about July 1st, 2021, Mr. Combs and Bad Boy Records, or Holdings, or both, directed Janice Combs Publishing Inc. to assign its administrative right to Miss Richard's songs. So here, I guess it's the highlights of copy. All the songs, the rights of all these songs in the bottom here, publishing right. All right. Held from her tenure with defendant in the years 2005 to 2012. To Sony Songs, a division of Sony Music Publishing, LLC. Sony. The assignment signed by Miss Richard on October 22nd, 2004, purported to credit through a semi-annual account Miss Richard's royalty account for Miss Richard's composition from between 80% to 90% of publishing share. However, no statement were ever provided, no payment were ever made, and no reversions nor assignment were ever recorded with performing rights organization and or other royalty collected entities by defendants or by Sony. So it's all a sham. Defendants have wholly failed to account to or pay Miss Richard as agreed for her composition and her performances in breach of the assignment and have thereby infringed her copyrights, resulting in defendants being unjustly enriched. Yeah, they did get enriched. During the summer of 2023, Mr. Combs' new record company, Love Inc., Love a Record Inc., tendered a contract for negotiation to Miss Richard for a song entitled Deliver Me, embodied as track number 3 on the Love album of The Grid, officially released on September 15, 2023. Upon information and belief, Delivered Me sold well prior to Mr. Combs' legal troubles in November 2023. Continuing to present, Miss Richard sought to establish her rightful percentage as a 21% composer on Deliver Me. Mr. Combs personally called Miss Richard and left a voicemail complaining about her fair request. Of course, about a fair request. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs directed his attorney to avoid confirming the composition percentage on the song, and in fact, list composers who played no part in composing the song. As a result, the contract was never signed by either Miss Richard or Love Record Inc. Nevertheless, Miss Richard obtained a copyright registration certificate on a timely basis. Said registration list author claimed as agreed when the song was created in 2009. That registration is filed separately in the court and support Ms. Richards' claim of copyright infringement by defendants herein. Defendants Love Record Inc. and Mr. Combs infringed Ms. Richards' copyright in the composition of Deliver Me by releasing Deliver Me without Ms. Richards' permissions and without compensation. Damage as a result of the fact and conduct complained of herein. Ms. Richards has suffered and will continue to suffer the loss of income, wage, benefits, royalty, promotional fees, touring fees, and other compensation. Ms. Richards has also suffered, among other things, future pecuniary losses, emotional pain, suffering, inconveniences, loss of enjoyment of life, post-traumatic disorder, anxiety disorder, insomnia, panic attacks, and other non-pecuniary losses, entitling her to an award of compensatory and punitive damage, injunctive and declaratory relief, attorney's fee and cost, and other remedies as this court may deem appropriate. First cause of action. One of the first code. Violation of the Victim of a Gender Motivation Act, Code 1011-1101, and BGPL, I guess, against defendant Sean Combs, Harvey, Inspector Record, and Bad Boy Records. Plaintiff repeats and re-allege each and every allegation in all of the preceding paragraphs as if fully set forth herein. The above described conduct of Mr. Combs, including but not limited to Mr. Combs' physical and SA and harassment and unlawful imprisonment of plaintiff in New York City, constitutes a crime of violation against plaintiff and is a crime of violence motivated by gender, as defined in U.S. Code 101103 of the New York City, blah, blah, blah. The term crime of violence means an act of series of act that would constitute a misdemeanor or felony against the person as defined in the state of federal or federal law in the conduct presents a serious risk of physical injury to other, whether or not those acts have actually resulted in crime charges, prosecution, or conviction. And the term crime of violence motivated by gender means a crime of violence committed because of gender or on the basis of gender and due, at least in part, to an animus based on the victim's gender. So I said U.S. Code, but this is, the New York City's law. All right. The above described conduct of Mr. Combs, including but not limited to SA, physical A, threats, and false imprisonment, all conduct prescribed by PL. All of these numbers, hold on, all right. 110, 120, 120, 15, 240, 30. All of these PL 135, 135, 130 constitutes a crime of violence against the plaintiff, is a crime of violence motivated by gender, as defined in 10.11.03. It is USC code. My apologies. Defendant Harvey Pierre Interscope Records and Bad Boys Records have financially and otherwise benefited from those acts and omission by keeping Mr. Combs, the volatile and explosive owner of Bad Boys Record, satisfied and benefited from facilitating his behavior. So the defendant Harvey Pierre, Interscope Record, and the Bad Boy Record enabled, condoned, and acknowledged of and failed to act to prevent or mitigate Mr. Combs' commission of the above-mentioned crime of violence motivated by gender, and therefore also liable under the VGM VPL. As a direct and proximate result of the above-mentioned crime of violence, so the VGM VPL and gender-motivated violence, plaintiff has sustained and will continue to sustain monetary damages and or economic harms, physical injury, pain and suffering, and serious psychological and emotional distress, entitle her to an award of compensatory and punitive damages, injunctive and declaratory relief, attorney's fees and costs, and other remedies as the court may deem appropriate, set in 10.11.04. Pursuant to this 10.11.05a, this cause of action is timely because it is commenced within 2 years and 6 months after September 1st, 2022. Second cause of action, assault pursuant to the California SA and Cover Up Accountability Act, Act Cal Civic Pro 340 against defendant Sean Combs and Bad Boy Record. So plaintiff repeats and reallege each and every allegation in all of the preceding paragraphs as if fully set forth herein. Mr. Combs suggested plaintiff to S battery as defined in, California Penal Code 234.4E1. In doing so, he intended to and did cause harmful and offensive contact with their person and place them in imminent comprehension of such contacts. Pursuant to the California Code of Civil Procedure 340.16, as amended by Assembly Bill 2777, this cause of action is timely because it is commenced within 3 years of the date plaintiff discovered the injury resulting from defendant's acts, which plaintiff did not discover and could not have reasonably discovered until 2023 November, when Miss Ventura filed a lawsuit against defendant. Defendant Bad Boy Record has financially and otherwise benefited from these acts, and a mission by keeping Mr. Combs, the volatile and explosive owner of Bad Boy Records, satisfied and benefited from facilitating his behavior. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's acts, plaintiff has sustained and will continue to sustain monetary damage and or economic harm, physical injury, pain, suffering, and serious psychological and emotional distress. Plaintiff also seek reasonably attorney fee as provided under the California Civil Code 52.5. Third cause of action, forced labor in violation of the U.S. of 18 U.S.C. 1589 and 1595 against defendant Sean Combs, Bad Boy Records, and UMG, Universal, Interscope, Jeffen, and A&M. Plaintiff repeats and reallege each and every allegation in all of the preceding paragraph as if fully set forth herein. Defendant knowingly obtained labor from plaintiff through threats of serious harm, physical restraint, and other means of coercion in violence of 18 U.S.C. 1589. Defendant Bad Boys Record, UMG, Interscope, Jeffen, and AMG Records knowingly benefited from the forced labor and trafficking activities conducted by Mr. Combs. And the trafficking, or if you're not paying, it's forced labor. So under the 18 U.S.C. 1595, plaintiff is entitled to bring a civil action against all defendants to their violation of the 18 U.S.C. 1589. As a direct and proximate result of defendants' acts, plaintiff has sustained and will continue to sustain monetary damage and or economic harm, physical injury, pain, suffering, and serious psychological and emotional distress. Plaintiff seeks compensatory damages for the harm suffered as a result of defendants' forced labor. Plaintiff also seeks punitive damages to deter such conduct by defendants in the future. I'll set an example. Along with reasonable attorney fees and costs, defendants continues that threat and coercion prevented plaintiff from asserting her rights within the statutorily prescribed period. Defendants should be stopped from asserting the statute of limitation as a defense due to duress exerted upon plaintiff. Should be stopped. Okay. Fourth cause of action, violation of the New York Service for Victim of Human Trafficking, NY Law 483 BBC against the defendant Sean Combs and the Bad Boys Records. So the plaintiff repeats and realleges each and every allegation in all preceding paragraph and fully sets forth herein. Plaintiff is a victim of labor trafficking within the meaning of New York Penal Law 135/35 and is therefore entitled to bring a civil action under New York SOC Serve 483 BB. The Defendants Act and omissions taken separately and or together as outlined above constitute a violation of the New York 483BB. Specifically, defendant Sean Combs perpetrated labor trafficking of Miss Richard by inducing her to engage or continue to engage in labor activities by means of instilling a fear in her that if she refused to comply, it would cause physical injury, serious physical injury, or engage in other conduct constituting a felony or unlawful imprisonment in the second degree in violation of New York Penal Law 135.05. And defendant Bad Boy Records benefited from Mr. Combs' venture by holding Miss Richard and artists signed with defendant Bad Boy's record and otherwise employed by other defendant Doe Corporation captive to Mr. Combs' demands and desires. At all relevant times, defendant Bad Boy Record participated in and facilitated the obtainment of plaintiffs' labor induced by force, fraud, and coercion. Somebody thinks they're pimps. I guess so. With all that money. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's action, plaintiff has sustained and will continue to sustain monetary damage and or economic harm, physical injury, pain, suffering, and serious psychological and emotional distress. Defendants continues that threat and coercion prevented plaintiff from asserting her rights with the statutorily prescribed period. Defendants should be stopped from asserting the statute of limitation as a defense due to the duress exerted upon the plaintiff. Let's see here. Okay, let's do this one too. Fifth cause of action is trafficking under 18 U.S.C. 1591. Defendant Sean Combs and Bad Boy Records. It's against them too. So plaintiff repeats and alleges each and every allegation in all of the preceding paragraph as if fully set forth herein. Mr. Combs, one of the most prominent musical artists and producer in industry, recruited and enticed plaintiff by initiating a professional relationship with her and invited her to join his band Diddy Dirty Money as a singer, songwriter, and performer. Just a name there. Yes, everything about him was fake. Prominent, yes, but fraud. Everything about you was a fraud, and I hope everybody gets to see it. But allegedly, this opportunity instilled in plaintiff the hope and expectation of advancing her career and achieving greatness success in the music industry. Wow. What did he instill? Fear. That's what he instilled. Mr. Combs, through a pattern of coercion, threats, and displays of brutal violences, caused plaintiff to engage in, oh boy, see, Commercial S Act as defined by 18 USC 5091. Oh boy, that's the trafficking. And oh boy, I'm so sorry for this young lady. These acts were carried out to further Mr. Combs' financial gain from Miss Richard's participation in Diddy dirty money, to exert control over her and to satisfy his own gratification. Of course, Mr. Combs used fraud and force to coerce and entice Miss Richard into commercial acts. Mr. Combs did so by making threats of career derailment and promises of career advancement in exchange of Miss Richard's acquiescence to Mr. Combs as battery and assaults. And this should be a lesson for all the young ladies. Having people promising things and for furtherance to a career that you have no clue where it's going to take you. Like, really? Mr. Combs' act, allegedly, with knowledge or in reckless disregard of the fact that plaintiff was forced to engage in these acts. Yeah? In these acts. Let me just check my little microphone. Yeah. Mr. Combs did so by making threats of career. Oh yeah, sorry, we read that part. Let's go. Mr. Combs acts with knowledge or in reckless disregard of the plaintiff acts was forced to engage in these of the fact that the plaintiff, okay, let's start. Mr. Combs acted with knowledge or in reckless disregard of the fact that plaintiff was forced to engage in these acts through coercion, and that these acts were in exchange for her continued place in the band and her financial stability. Well, dangling the cheese. The cheese is yours, but you can't have it. Defendant Bad Boy record has financially and otherwise benefited from these acts and omission by keeping Mr. Combs, the volatile and explosive owner of Bad Boy Records, satisfied and benefited from facilitating his behavior. As a direct and approximate result of defendant's actions, plaintiff has sustained and will continue to sustain the monetary damage and or economic harm, physical injury, pain, and suffering, and serious psychological and emotional distress. Defendant continuous death threat and coercion prevented plaintiff from asserting her rights within the statutorily prescribed period. Defendant should be exempt from asserting the statute of limitation as a defense due to the duress exerted upon plaintiff. So number 6, in violation of the California Trafficking Victim Protection Act, number 52.5. Let's see. Alrighty. Plaintiff repeats and realleges each and every allegation contained in all of the preceding paragraph as if fully set forth here, and the plaintiff is a victim of trafficking within the meaning of the California Penal Code 2361 6.1, and is therefore entitled to bring a civil action under the California Civil Code 52.5. The defendant acts and omission taken separately and or together as outlined above constitute a violation of the California Civil Code 52.5. Specifically, defendant Sean Combs perpetrated human trafficking of Miss Richard by depriving or violating her personal liberty with the intent to obtain forced labor. And defendant Bad Boy Records benefited from Mr. Combs' venture by holding Miss Richard, an artist signed with defendant Bad Boy Records and otherwise employed by other defendant Doe corporations, captive to Mr. Combs' demands and desire. At all relevant time, defendants participated in a facilitated the obtainment of plaintiff's labor induced by force, fraud, and coercion again and again and again. Same thing we're going to repeat. So I'm just going to run through those. All of these go to human rights, human trafficking. Okay, there's a lot of codes here. Assault under New York law, 7th one. So let's see. All right. So in engaging in the conduct described above, Mr. Combs committed an assault against the plaintiff because he intentionally placed plaintiff in a reasonable apprehension of imminent harmful or offensive contact, and plaintiff reasonably feared immediate bodily harm as a result of defendant's conduct. Defendant's action amount to violation under the New York Penal Code 110, 120, 120.5, 120.15, as well as analogous California law and common law of New York, California, and of New York and California and different states that she was brought to. So all of these, the same thing, under duress. So the conduct of Mr. Combs described above was willful, wanton, and malicious. At all events relevant, Mr. Combs acted with conscious disregard of plaintiff rights and feeling, acted with the knowledge of or with reckless disregard for the fact that his conduct was certain to cause injury and or humiliation to plaintiff, and intended to cause fear, physical injury, or pain and suffering to plaintiff. By virtue of the foregoing, plaintiff is entitled to recover punitive and exemplary damage from defendant Combs according to proof at trial. Here we go again. Continuous threat and coercion she's been getting. Next one, battery. Battery under the New York law, to be specific here. I'm going to skip it. Just sometimes it's just very repetitive. Similar things. The false imprisonment here under the New York law, because it happened in New York, and this one with Harvey and the bad boy and Sean Combs. We got a false imprisonment under the California law, to be described in a little bit more here. intentional inflictions of emotional distress, again against Harvey Combs, Bad Boy Records. 12th cause of actions: harassment, gender discrimination, hostile work environment under the New York State Human Trafficking Law, Executive Law, I guess, 290, and the NYSHRL, which is human rights law. Yeah, the New York State Human Rights Law. Okay. Plaintiff here repeats the same stuff. Okay, we're going to skip these. The 13th one: sexual harassment, gender discrimination, hostile work environment under the New York City Human Rights Law. Specifically, 14th, retaliation in violation of the New York State Human Rights Law. Which other one did they breach? 15, cause hostile work environment in violation of the California Government Code 12940. Sean Combs and the Bad Boy Record, who hired her. The other one assisted and abetted, most likely. And then we have 16th, gender discrimination in violation of California Government Code 12940 against Sean Combs and Bad Boy Records. 17th, cause of action: violation of rights of publicity under New York Civil Rights Law 50 and 51, and unjust enrichment. And the companies will be here: Sean Combs, Bad Boy Record, the music, and School, blah. Jeff and A&M Records, Diageo, American Supply Inc., Circo Distilling Companies here, Ciroc is here, Can & Co., and the Go Wines and the Spirit LLC. All these companies would get pulled in for sure, because they all belong to Sean Combs, aka many personalities. 18th, cause copyright infringement, USC 17. That's for the copyright laws for her rights. The 19th, a breach of the contract. There you go. Janice is here. Sean Combs' mom against Sean Combs, Bad Boy Record, the music, Sean Combs Music Inc., Norderlinger Group LLC, November 15th LLC, Janice Combs. I wonder what's that November 15th? I'm curious. Publishing Inc. and Sony Inc. Why would you put a date for a company? So yeah, I guess we're going to be almost done, because they're pretty much really very repetitive. 20, cause of action: breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing in breach. Oh yes, okay, that's another breach against all the defendant. So let's read that last one maybe. Plaintiff repeats and alleges each and every allegation in all of the preceding paragraphs as if fully set forth herein. Plaintiff entered several contracts with defendants. Plaintiff did all or substantially all of the significant things the contracts required her to do. The allegations set forth in this complaint detail the malevolent and intentional behavior by defendant repeated through a 20-year span, of all which constituted breach of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and demonstrated the bad faith of defendants at all relevant times. Defendants did not pay plaintiff her salary as agreed. Defendant did not pay plaintiff her royalty nor extraneous promotion in all instances. Defendant did not pay plaintiff her share of income for her contribution to musical composition, her publishing as agreed, despite the assignment to various companies. Yes, just like a lot of artists go through this, and it's very unfair. And this is what the most beloved man has been doing to people allegedly. Let's keep at it. Not only defendant failed to pay plaintiff, they have failed to promote plaintiff's work and infringed her copyrights. Thieves, we call that. So allegedly, defendants' unfair interference with plaintiff's right to receive her benefits of each contract was foreseeable in causing plaintiff to suffer general, consequential, and incidental damages, including economic damage, according to proof at trial. Defendants knew or could reasonably have foreseen that the harm and or special circumstances were likely to occur in the ordinary course of event as a result of the breach of defendants' obligations to act in good faith, make plaintiff's property productive, and account for a pay plaintiff as agreed. Accordingly, defendants' conduct was a breach of implied covenant of good faith for fair dealing. As an actual and proximate result of the aforementioned violation, plaintiff has been harmed in an amount according to proof. And has lost wages, benefits, and other out-of-pocket expenses. As an actual and proximate result of defendants' aforementioned acts, plaintiff has suffered physical injury and became mentally upset, stressed, and aggravated. Plaintiff has experienced post-traumatic stress disorder, mental anguish, aggravation, anxiety, humiliation, embarrassment, sleeplessness, loss of appetite, low self-esteem, depression, upset stomach, and other form of extreme emotional distress. Plaintiff claimed damages for physical injury and mental distress is an amount according to proof at trial. The above described action were perpetrated on and or ratified by a managing agent, employee, or officer of defendants, and each of them. These acts were done with malice, fraud, oppression, and in reckless disregard of plaintiff's right. Further, said action were despicable in character and warrant the imposition of punitive damage in a sum sufficient to punish and deter defendants' future conduct. Defendants continued death threat and coercion again prevent plaintiff from asserting her rights within the statutorily prescribed period. Defendants should be stopped from asserting the statute of limitation as a defense due to duress exerted upon plaintiff. 21st cause of action: fraud, international misrepresentation, and false promise. Of course, the king of false promise. Oh boy. Plaintiff repeats and realleges each and every allegation as all of the preceding paragraph is fully set forth herein. Plaintiff asserts this cause of action against all defendants. Defendants represented to plaintiff that certain facts relative to payment to the plaintiff were true in each of the contracts above listed. Further, defendants made multiple promises in writing to plaintiff. So, defendant representations were false. Defendants did not intend to perform these promises when they were made or at any time. Defendants knew that their representation were false, and when they were made, and they made such representations recklessly and without regard for the truth in such representation. Defendants intended that plaintiff rely on their representations and promises. Plaintiff reasonably relied on defendant's representation and promises. Defendants did not perform the promised act. Plaintiff was harmed. Plaintiff's reliance on defendant's representation and promises was a substantial factor in causing plaintiff to suffer general, consequential, and incidental damage, including economic damages, according to proof at trial. Defendants knew or could reasonably have foreseen that the harm of special circumstances were likely to occur in the ordinary course of events as a result of the defendant's breach of contract. Accordingly, defendant's conduct was intentional misrepresentation. Of course, I'm so rich, I'm so good, just believe everything I say. Look at me, I'm Diddy. Did nothing. As an actual and proximate result of defendant's intentional and unlawful misrepresentation and false promises, plaintiff has lost wages, profits, benefits, royalties, and incurred other out-of-pocket expenses. As an actual and proximate result of defendant's fraudulent acts, plaintiff has suffered physical injury and became mentally upset, stressed, and aggravated. Plaintiff has experienced post-traumatic stress disorder, mental anguish, aggravation, anxiety, humiliation, embarrassment, sleeplessness, loss of appetite, low self-esteem, depression, upset stomach, and other forms of extreme emotional distress. Plaintiff claimed damages from physical injury and mental distress in the amount according to proof at trial, and so on and so on. Again, they were done with malice. It's very repetitive, so I'm going to skip that part. So here, final little touch. Prayer for relief on claims. Wherefore, Miss Richard prays that this court enter judgment against defendants herein and any other defendants who may later be added to this action as followed. For a money judgment representing compensatory damages, including but not limited to consequential damages, lost wages, earnings, royalties, publishing, touring, and promotional income, and non-economic damage, and all other sums of money, together with interest on these amount according to proof. 2. For a money judgment for mental pain and anguish and severe emotional distress according to proof. For restitution. 4. Disgorgement of all sums unjustly obtained from plaintiff or inured to the benefit of defendants. For civil penalty. For punitive and exemplary damage according to proof. For attorney fees and costs. For prejudgment and post-judgment interest, and for such other further relief as the court may deem just and proper. Jury demand. Miss Richard demands a trial by jury on all issues. Trial of right by jury, dated September 10th, 2024. The Bloom firm respectfully submitted. Lisa Bloom, lovely name. I wish her all the best. We'll keep an eye on this. So here's my latest thing for the read. We're going to be reading next one. I do believe next one should be I think I want to do, you know what, we'll keep it a surprise next week. Surprise next week. So yeah, so we did that. Okay, let's get to my sister Jaguar, right? The magic community. And yes, her life is a little bit in danger at the moment. Not a little bit, but there's no such thing as limits on this. And we did lose Angie Stone. Rest in peace. A beautiful soul. Let's get on with that. Let me share something here. Here, a little summary on Angie Stone. Angie Stone was born Angela Laverne Brown on December 18, 1961. She was influential in American singer-songwriter, actress, and record producer. And yet, a lot of people don't know her. She first gained fame in the late 70s as a member of the hip-hop trio, The Sequence One. In the early 90s, she joined the R&B trio, Vertical Hold, before launching her own solo. Her debut solo album, Black Diamond, was released in 1999 and received gold certification. Stone's second album, Mahogany Soul, was released in 2001. And you know what? I'm going to find you a nice picture of Angie Stone, which is, should have added in here. Angie Stone. Let me get you some Angie Stone. Oh, you know what? I want to do. I want to play that. A bit of background sound that I like. Let's see. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Sorry, oops, I was muted for a bit. My apologies. We'll edit that part later. My apologies. So let's go. Angie Stone. I guess I missed that part. Here, guys, little summary. Angie Stone was born Angela LaFern Brown on December 1861. She was a great influencer, singer, songwriter, actress, and record producer. She's definitely from way back in the 70s, and she was part of a trio, the Sequence One. Yep, what can I say? We lost a beautiful soul. She was known as the mother of the neo soul, right? So she had her gold certification in 1999, the solo album Black Diamond. She had a second album here, Mahogany Soul, in 2001, and she first featured in the hit single Wish I Didn't Miss You. She continued to release successful albums, including Stone Love and The Art of Love and War in 2007, which became her #1 album. I definitely have to go look back and try to find some of her music. So, in addition to her music career, Stone ventured into acting, appearing in films like Hot Chick in 2002, Fighting Temptation, as well as on Broadway and musical Chicago. I haven't seen those. Maybe I should take a look. And so she was nominated here for 3 Grammy Awards and won 2 Soul Train Lady of Soul Award. She's a great musician. Left a very big spot to fill in. So here you go. See, she was contributed to D'Angelo. You haven't seen D'Angelo much ever since that album, Brown Sugar. Yeah, and collaborated with Alicia Keys and Erykah Badu back then. Wow. She was definitely very talented. Angie Stone legacy is a testament to her talent, resilience, and dedication to her craft. Her influence will continue to be felt everywhere, as it is being felt today. What else? So here also I wanted to do this just because it has to be done. Like, she is followed the footsteps of this lady. So Jaguar Wright was born Jacqueline Suzette. Oh my God, that's adorable. That's Suzette, your middle name. I love it. Suzette Wright Johnson on May 1777. Wow. Is an American songwriter and actress known for her powerful voice and unique blend of R&B, neo-soul, and hip-hop influence. She gained recognition in the 90s when she was discovered by hip-hop group The Roots, leading her to touring and performing as a background vocalist for Jay-Z on MTV Unplugged. If I'm not mistaken, that's the song to make you cry. 2012, probably. Wow. So yes, Wright released her album solo, Denials, Delusion, and Decision in 2002, followed by Divorcing Neo to Marry Soul. And did they tell it off here? She has also collaborated with various artists, including Roots, Jay-Z, Black Alicious too. In addition to her music career, Wright has been involved in social activism, focusing on issues such as mental health, spiritual awakening, and Black lives. Which brings me to say here, yes, in recent years, Wright has been headlines as for her outspoken nature and controversies involving other artists, including Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Mary J. Blige. Despite these controversies, her contribution to the music industry and her powerful voice continue to inspire with fans. Yes, you know why? Because she always stayed true to herself. And that's why she received the award. She received the Freedom Award. So, Jaguar Wright was honored the Defender of Freedom Award on February 18, 2025 at a ceremony held at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. The award was presented by General Flynn and was given by the non-profit organization America's Future, which I showed last week. And there's a reason why I'm emphasizing about this. This award recognized Wright, Miss Jaguar, for her fearless dedication to truth and justice, and her commitment to transparency and accountability. Yes, She should be known for who she is, just like everybody's being known for who they are, and we are seeing them today. So Jaguar Wright is very outspoken nature, and all of these controversial claims about everybody is actually getting verified, have not always been verified as factual, yet are making people realize that they have been verified. So I just wanted to fix this with you guys. Always been verified as factual. Despite this, her dedication to speaking out and shining the light on issues she believes in earned her this recognition. And that's why people like her and people are gravitated towards her. They respect her. She doesn't have to pretend. She doesn't have to lie. She doesn't have to mask herself. She doesn't have to act. She just is. I want to say, yes, I heard let's say she has a new contract, so she's working hard. She's going to let us know very soon. I can't wait for that announcement. She always has a secret thing that she's ready. She's going to announce. But like always, in due time, we will find out what she's working on. But I also want to say to her to stay safe. We love her. We pray for her. And please stop harassing her. Because if you are being watched. This lady has Cash Patel on speed dial and General Flynn on speed dial. And guess what? Pam Bondi on speed dial. No. She will not be walked all over. Nope. Watch it. Watch. I want to say, great interview, by the way, with Dwayne_B with Jaguar about Angie Stone and what she's left behind, her impact on the industry, and how she will be missed. And I hope that people will carry on her, her legacy. So, what's going on else here? Let's see. Angie Stone. Wow. Back from the 70s. We'll find out. Canada's update. Oh my God. Well, I guess we're going to find out on Sunday what's going on. It's a lot of drama and a lot of huffing and puffing. But at the same time, we don't know. Since Parliament is suspended, nothing is really happening. But provinces are doing what they can, since that's how our government left us to do. And business owners too have to do what they can, since they were left behind too. So let's skip that. And I want to read one of Jim Morrison's pages in the lost writing of Jim Morrison's Poems and Diaries of a Rock and Roll Legend. Just somehow this was, I think, Great for our timings for our life today. So it's also from the Wilderness publication. I want to make sure I recognize the name. It's volume 1 by Columbus Carson, Pearl Carson, Frank Luciandro, and Catherine Lisiandro. Alrighty. Let's go read the first poems. Poem 1961 to 71. The opening of the trunk. Moments of inner freedom when the mind is open and the infinite universe revealed and the soul is left to wander, dazzled and confused, searching here and there for teachers and friends. Moment of freedom as the prisoner blinks in the sun. Like a mole from his mole, a child's first trip away from home, that moment of freedom. Told you it'll be pretty much in time with what we're living today. This one. La America, cold treatment of our Empress. La America, the transient universe. La America, instant communion and communication. La America, emeralds in glass. La America, searchlights at twilights. La America, stone streets in the pale dawn. La America, robbed in exile. La America, swift beat of a proud heart. La America, eyes like 20. La America, swift dream. La America, frozen heart. La America, soldier doom. La America, clouds and struggles. La America, nighthawk. Doomed from the start. La America, that's how I met her. La America, lonely and frozen. La America, and sullen. Yes, America, right from the start. Then stop. Go. The wilderness between. Go round the march. All right. I guess with that, I would like to end the stream by saying it's the end of the Tell All Tuesday, and I want to take this moment to personally thank you for hanging out with me on the Saga Reveal. With that, see you all next week. Same tube time, same tube channel. Signing up, Mademoiselle.